In the middle of Greenwich Village in Manhattan, there's a short, narrow, old-fashioned residential lane called Grove Street. And in the middle of one block of Grove Street is a nondescript brick apartment building that you'd never guess is an historic landmark. There's no plaque on the wall outside. 92 Grove Street is a rambling 6-story set around a courtyard, really not much more than an air shaft.
This isn't the way you and your dad would enter, huh?
No, you wouldn't enter up here.
50 years ago, in the back of the building, was the writer's studio rented by a black journalist named Alex Haley.
Very hidden away back here.
The same Alex Haley who'd become famous a decade later for his book Roots.
Because I remember, I'm sure it was this room here.
Haley grew up in Tennessee, and that's where he raised his eldest son, Bill Haley.
It didn't have the bars, but
Wonder if the people living here have any idea what happened.
probably not.
What happened in Alex Haley's little studio at the back of 92 Grove is an extraordinary scene in literary history. Joining him in this 8x10 room for more than 50 in-depth interviews over 2 years was another black man, tall, bespectacled, with a goatee. Haley had already interviewed him for a couple of magazine articles. Now he wanted to tell his whole life story in a book. The man called himself Malcolm X.
Haley's sitting in a chair, taking notes, while Malcolm is walking around the room. Malcolm was 6'3", weighed about 170 pounds, thin as a rail, filled with energy and life, probably drinking about 7 or 8 cups of coffee a day.
When they'd started the interview sessions in 1963, Malcolm X was already famous as the fiery, charismatic minister of the radical Nation of Islam.
Dad was a fast typist, and he was going to tape Malcolm. But Malcolm said he didn't want to be on tape. I mean, he didn't know that they had the place bugged, but
When you said they had the place bugged, what does that mean?
they had surveillance on Malcolm in this studio down here.
They being the FBI.
The FBI, yeah.
When the autobiography came out, do you remember the public reaction?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I mean, not as big as Roots, but it was people wanting a signature and whatnot. I mean, it really sort of exploded. And the autobiography is, I own 1/6 of it as royalties, and I still clock, God forbid I should say this, probably about $30,000 a year. And this is what, 45 years later?
Wow.